finally had to face the facts. All of the evidence was pointing to LA Noire. Hello everyone, welcome back. We're going to be doing the final mission, or case rather, sorry. The final case for the traffic desk in LA Noire. This is called The Fallen Idol, and it's one that I have a really hard time remembering the correct answers to for some reason. And according to Rockstar Games, this mission is actually one of the more commonly failed missions for people. So, if you happen to have played this game yourself and had trouble with this mission, don't feel bad. Apparently everyone does. I call it a mission again.
Phelps, Bukowski, you have a new case. 2 women, possible drink drive.
How is that a case?
The broad says she was doped and that somebody tried to kill her.
Where did this take place?
That's the bit you're gonna love. Right across the street.
What?
A Chevy Styline took a nosedive off the escarpment, fetched up underneath a Cola King billboard. Up to it, boys. We got bad guys to catch.
Well, at least we won't have to go very far for this one.
Put him down into my sap.
See you later, fellas. Try not to work too hard.
I'm sure they never do.
You dancing with the boy. A tear to my eye watching my caterpillar grow wings. I'm just trying to fit in. Educated, hardworking, straight as an arrow. I hate to break it to you, Cole, but you'll never fit in at Central.
That's a great vote of confidence for the people working at Central. That if they're not well educated or intelligent. Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah. So this is quite the interesting case to just start off the bat, where a choice of location for the crime take place, exactly what we're covering. I'm wondering if that's one of the cases where I'm wondering if maybe this case shouldn't. Well, I don't know. A murder didn't actually take place, so I guess the murder desk couldn't take it over. Homicide desk couldn't take it over. But still, someone was trying to get killed.
Stop just ahead.
I'm going to. Why did he tell me that? Not stupid. Jeez.
Her face looks familiar. Well, that's June Ballard. Tarzan's sister, beast of the Amazon. She's married to Guy McAfee. The captain has moved to Vegas now, but the two of them still have juice. Phelps, traffic.
Detective Phelps. Hey, Bukowski. Long time no see.
You could have called this in by megaphone, Enrique. Phelps, this is Enrique Gonzalez. Enrique was a pretty decent middleweight. What do we have, Gonzalez?
Broad drives right through the empty lot and off the side of the escarpment. Her story is that a movie producer doped her and her friend and sent the car over the cliff.
Was anyone hurt?
Driver's beat up. Not too bad considering. If she hadn't hit that billboard, we'd be scraping both of them off the pavement. Passenger's a Jessica Hamilton. She's just a kid. She's pretty knocked around.
Kid gonna be all right?
I think so. They've taken her to Central Receiving. If you want to take a look around, you can stall the ambulance.
Thanks. Do that.
One more thing. Watch out for the driver. She cuts rough.
Hey,
Fair enough.
out of the way, bub.
I don't know.
If you're looking for the coroner, he's down by the crash site.
Yeah, I saw that. Why? What is with people telling me all these things? I know, I saw. I'm not blind. Why do you guys think I'm stupid? I don't get it. Anyway, we should run into the photographer all down here, I think. Oh no? I thought there was 2 of them here.
You'll want to see this, Phelps. There, laid out on the trunk. And that isn't even the best part.
Oh, we got some juicy tidbits here, huh? Oh, I don't think... Okay, no, I take that back. I don't want to call it that anymore.
She's a long way from home.
Yeah, so apparently the girl who was in this car had a fight with her father and left their home to try and be an actress in Hollywood. But this is from her mother, kind of trying to tell her, please just come back home. You know, something bad's going to happen to you if you stay in California. All of that usual stuff, you know. And as I said before, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this, but I said in the last video, this case is going to cover some fairly rough stuff. If this should tell you, give you a good indication of what it's going to be. However, so if you're sensitive to certain subject material, probably shouldn't watch the rest of this. Just gonna throw that out there.
They've been torn off. Where did you find them?
They were stuffed in the young lady's handbag. I'll run a trace for semen when I get back to the lab.
While we're on that, if you can't be mature, also probably shouldn't watch this. Okay, so that's our evidence. That's not important at all. Why did I pick it up? I don't know. Let's talk to the doctor.
Drunk driver?
Maybe not.
How so?
Well, the head I found without a body piqued my interest. See what you think.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. Is it real?
No. I think it's supposed to be a replica of an Indian shrunken head. It's some kind of curio or movie prop. See the casting marks?
Yes, we do.
What's it made from?
Plaster of Paris would be my first guess, then painted.
So we can rule out the murder angle?
No, you can rule that in. That thing was wedging the accelerator to the floor. Whoever did it wanted these women dead.
Is that so? Yeah, I don't know. This looks like some kind of, you said Indian? But is it common for the Indians to try and shrink heads? I thought that was a, South American thing. Am I wrong?
How does someone manage to tip their ride straight off a cliff? If the driver's in a fit state, we should ask.
Don't let Bukowski's level-headedness sounding there fool you. He just really wants to meet June Ballard. He's a bit he's gonna be a bit starstruck here. Apparently, she was quite the big thing in her day. Now she's just kind of a used-to-be actress.
Mrs. McAfee, we would like to ask you a few questions, if that's okay.
I prefer to use my maiden name, June Ballard. You might be familiar with some of my work.
Can you tell us what happened here?
You're kind of cute for a cop. Maybe a bit on the serious side.
What about me, June? I'm a big fan of Beast
You?
of...
I don't like. Keep out of this.
Oh my goodness, yeah, she's a very self-important woman.
We understand that you're still suffering from the effects of the accident, Mrs. McAfee. The officer says that you claimed that you were drugged. Who did this to you?
That rat slipped us a Mickey Finn. It's no wonder I feel so dopey. I can't remember.
She's obviously not being honest with us, and you see a little smirk on her. Yeah, look at her. She thinks she's hot shit, man. Oh my goodness. I can see through your lies, lady.
It's a serious offense to withhold information from the police during a criminal investigation, madam.
I told you to call me June. You're making me feel like an old lady. And don't bother your handsome head about this. My husband will settle the score with Mark Bishop.
Oh, her husband will settle this. Okay, so yeah, apparently her husband has some not so savory connections.
What can you tell us about the passenger in your car?
Jessica Hamilton. Poor Jessica. It's been a rough day for her. She's desperate to break into movies. What more can I say?
She's obviously still not telling the truth, so... Oh, look. A lie.
I think you're lying, Mrs. McAfee. I think something happened to Jessica yesterday before the crash.
I'm offended, Sunshine. Do you have any proof?
Unfortunately, yes. We have these.
Miss Hamilton's underwear were physically torn from her body.
She wanted to go to a casting. I took her to a casting. Whatever happened after that is between her and Mark Bishop.
I have a slight feeling there's more to it than that, but we'll get to that later.
We found a shrunken head. It was used to tamper with your car.
You see, I normally don't drive off cliffs. The last thing I remember is getting behind the wheel.
And she's keeping up with her not telling us the whole truth situation, kind of trying to play with us. Although this time, she seems a little bit more concerned with not remembering.
It's obviously some kind of movie prop. You must know where it came from.
In case you hadn't noticed, I am the talent. And the talent doesn't deal with props or sets or any of that kind of stuff. Why don't you ask Mark Bishop which prop house he uses?
So if you haven't caught the theme behind these questions, they're basically just letting you know for each of these questions, hey, Mark Bishop is a person of interest.
You mentioned a Mark Bishop. You think he might have had something to do with this?
He is a movie producer. As for his involvement, you just leave it to me and my husband to worry about.
See, this is one of the instances where you could potentially get it wrong, because unlike all of her other responses, she's not showing really obvious signs of lying. However, I suspect that what you're supposed to do is doubt because she's withholding information. I think you're supposed to doubt because she's withholding information, not because you think that, you know, that's the only indication. That she doesn't show any actual physical indication that she's doing something doubtful here. It looks like she's telling the truth. So if you pick truth here, sorry.
I want to know what happened between you two that made him want to commit a double murder.
Bishop offered me a part in his picture. Then he withdrew it. Fact is, we had a deal. I pressed him on it, and this is where I end up.
Mrs. McAfee, I think it would be in everyone's best interest if you accompanied Patrolman Gonzalez back to the receiving hospital.
I'm going to be okay. These guys can take me home after my lawyer and I have talked to the news hound.
Mrs. McAfee, you are still under the influence of narcotics, and you're likely to go into shock once the drugs wear off.
And I thought you were a heel. It's nice of you to be concerned.
I think we're good here. Let's go see what we can shake out of the kid.
So Miss June Bullard is really loves attention.
Excuse me, officer? I want to see you.
It's all about talking to the press and keeping her image up and making sure that she gets her time in the limelight.
Car 11K, 11 King. The car crash victim has regained consciousness at Central Receiving Hospital.
And I could just do my usual stuff of
11K Roger, en route.
driving off the hill, but we'll take the safer route. Just kidding.
You know, this isn't a tank, Phelps.
Sure it is. I can take all the damage I want, and the next time there's another cutscene, the car will be completely fixed. I've learned this lesson. This car is indestructible. But in any case, it seems like thus far we're dealing with a case of underage sexual molestation. So let's go talk to the victim right now.
Hello, Detective Phelps, here to interview a Jessica Hamilton.
Jessica Hamilton. Oh, yes. She's in the room, right behind you, Detective.
But before we do that,
You can't hold me here. No, I don't need to be manhandled by a doctor. I need my lawyer. Hey, where is the telephone? Do you know who I am?
apparently she's not a very good patient. No surprise there.
Feeling better since this morning, Jessica?
A little. My head still feels sweaty.
As this music should indicate to you, we have some evidence to collect here, so before we talk to her, let's take a look. Apparently she was doped up with chloral hydrate. Yeah, so, and she was sexually abused, as we've found out at this point. Why don't I was trying to talk to her. I don't want to.
Doesn't give me anything to go on.
You're making me uncomfortable.
I know.
Just standing around here looking
Yeah,
at
I know.
me, not saying
I
anything.
know. I apologize, lady. I'm trying to talk.
Hello, Jessica. My name is Cole Phelps. I'm a policeman. I'd like to talk to you about your accident, if that's okay.
Okay.
Can you tell me what you remember about the crash?
It's all kind of fuzzy. I remember waking up here. Nothing happened yesterday.
So she's obviously not telling us the truth. She may be the victim here, but she's trying to hide what really happened, which is an understandable response.
Tell the truth, Jessica. Why the big cover-up?
I'm not lying to you.
Well, this and this both seem to say otherwise.
We found your underwear in your handbag, Jessica. You need to tell us what happened.
The doctor told me what happened. I didn't want that. I just wanted to be a star, to be in movies. I told Junie what happened, and she told me to toughen up. That was the price of stardom.
Did she now, cold-hearted bitch?
It's not Junie's fault. It's not my first time. I had a boyfriend back home, but my father found out about him.
Even if you consented, Jessica, you're still underage.
Yeah. Plus having sex and being drugged is two different things. It's not quite the same.
We need to get in touch with your parents, Jessica, to tell them what has happened.
Oh, you don't need to worry them. They sent me along to stay with Aunt June. They trust her to take care of me.
And we read over that letter, so we know that it's obviously a lie.
You're lying, Jessica. How are we going to make this right if you lie to us?
Please, detective, why would I lie to you?
That's a good question. My thoughts are that you really want to be a movie star, and while this is horribly traumatizing, you are willing to let it go because you still think that you're going to get in the movie because of it.
Because you're a runaway, Jessica, and you don't have your parents' permission to be here. Now, do you want to tell me what really happened?
I went with Junie to this strange place. It's difficult to remember. Someone gave me a drink to calm my nerves, and then I felt faint. I think I must have passed out.
How did you meet Mr. Bishop?
Well, Junie is a big movie star. You probably know that. She's doing a new movie.
It doesn't seem like she's telling us quite the whole truth here. She's a really very, very bad liar. Probably won't make for a good actress either.
What's the story with Bishop and Mrs. McAfee? Why does he want the two of you dead?
That can't be true. Mr. Bishop seemed very happy today. I mean, yesterday.
And that's why he wedged a shrunken head against the accelerator pedal and punted the two of you over an escarpment?
I overheard Junie speaking to him on the phone a couple of times. Screaming, really. She can be very hard sometimes, Junie. But they seemed okay yesterday, like they worked it out.
In case you haven't pieced it together, at this point, it's kind of everything's pointing towards the fact that her aunt essentially sold her to Mark Bishop in order to be in the movie, which is just.
I know what happened to you, Jessica. Where exactly did it take place?
Please, it's scary. It's really difficult to think of anything.
And it kind of seems like she wants to be forthcoming here, so maybe we should take it a little easy on her. Not yell at her like Cole will usually do in a doubt or a lie, but instead just kind of try and coax it out of her. So she looks like she's lying, but you're supposed to choose truth here. It's very, very backwards from the way the game has trained you to think.
Jessica, I really need you to help me here.
I remember the mermaid.
Was the mermaid in the movie too?
No, it was on the front of a building. We pulled up in front of the mermaid.
Thank you, Jessica. You've been a big help. Here's my card. If you think of anything or you need some help, just get in touch, okay?
Okay.
I think it might be a good idea if you went back home till you felt better, Jessica.
I couldn't do that, officer. What if I got the part and I wasn't there?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, she still thinks that she's going to get in the movie, and that's why she's kind of letting this slide. It's
the tale of this town, Cole. Lambs that go willingly to slaughter. Who the hell is that?
Must be her lawyer. He certainly expedited her release.
I don't like it, Cole. Why is she in such a hurry? We should follow her. There she goes. Come on.
Well, she has made it clear on multiple occasions that she's going to murder Mark Bishop, so that's probably what's going on here. Anyway, let's tail her. The game is kind enough to explain how this works. Turn on your police siren is a big no-no in this.
Ballard is definitely up to something.
Yep. As they mentioned, you can focus on her. This is tailing people is very easy in this game.
She seems to have made a remarkably speedy recovery.
Yeah, she sure did. Stop making small talk, Bukowski. Tailing in this game is fairly easy. There's not very many instances of where you're going to need to do it.
Easy, Cole. Better back it off.
But see, yeah, they're very forgiving. They give you lots of warning. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Holy crap. This is a disaster. I've never had this happen before. Wow. Okay. There we go. Alright, the game broke there for a second, guys. Apologies. That was very bizarre. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. 99-cent movie. Family tickets. Season tickets to movies. 99 cents. Oh my, I missed that. Not that I was alive when they were 99 cents, but I was when they were cheaper.
Get in there and see what she's up to.
And now we have our tailing section. This is very difficult for people who are doing it for the first time. Kind of have to wait for her to stop doing this and then have a seat. Be incognito.
Baby? No! I don't want him taught a lesson. You know what I want. Well, then make someone else do it! You still know people out here, don't you? Then make some calls! I'm gonna be very clear about this. You get this done, or I'm... Wilson's Hotel. Mr. Mark Bishop, that son of a bitch, lives in apartment 803. Sure, I got the film.
That's what's important here, right? She and her niece were almost murdered, but the important thing was she got to be in the movie, right? What the hell? Anyway, we're on a bit of a time crunch here. I've never made it here on time.
So what's the story? I'm guessing she didn't stop for light refreshments.
She made a call. Sounds like Mark Bishop has a heap of trouble headed his way. I've got an address. Wilson's Hotel, apartment 803.
Oh shit, you better step on it.
Is he's got any sense, he'll be as far away from home as possible.
If he had any sense, he wouldn't have tried bumping off Guy McCaffrey's wife in the first place. Or he'd have done the job properly. McCaffrey will break a fella's legs just for looking at the problem.
What did you make of the kid? You believe her story? I think she was doped out of her tiny mind and given the casting couch. That fucking bitch Ballard sold her out.
So yeah, I drive like a madman.
So if Ballard was doing someone a favor, why did they try to kill her?
But you can apparently get here, if you get here quick enough, you can have a different cutscene than normal. However, as I mentioned, I've never done it myself.
All units in the vicinity in car 11K, 11 King, a 415 progress at apartment 803, Wilson's Apartment Hotel, 1220 West 7th Street, Westlake Park. 11K code 3, all other units code 2. KGPL clear.
And that means that we're getting close.
Done it! Let's get to the apartment before someone gets hurt.
So hopefully we can do it. Let's do it, everyone. I don't usually drive off that cliff. I was hoping it would save me the time that I needed to get here. Oh, this is the moment of truth, everyone.
You the cops? I tried to stop them. It's room 803, left out of the elevator.
Yep, just press the button all leisurely, everyone. No hurry. This is all take our time.
Sounds like we're about to make it a hat trick of hysterical female witnesses.
Look, lady, I can pose you or I can pose your husband. Which one is it?
What? No.
I don't know where he is.
Give it up! LAPD!
I curse you and your children.
I'm so glad that we got here in time. I've never done this before. Don't worry, Bukowski. I'll handle everything. Don't you do anything. So yeah, the driving off the cliff strategy actually worked for us, everyone. Good job. My driving like an insane person has paid off.
Are you injured, Mrs. Bishop?
I'm all right now. Those horrible, awful men.
Perhaps you should sit down, ma'am.
Yes. Forgive me, officers. I'm very flushed. I'll just sit down for a moment.
That's perfectly normal, ma'am. Take a moment while we look around.
Yes, thank you. Just look at this mess.
Yeah, so if you don't get here in time, the only thing that's different is you just show up here and the guys have already gone. You don't fight them. You don't get to see who they were. And at the end of this case, there'll be a little note at the case notes to say, you know, if you got there in time, you could fight it. You could have caught those guys red-handed. Like, well, I did this time, game.
This is going to help us.
So I hope it doesn't complain at me still about that. That would be very upsetting. Oh, here's a relevant thing.
Looks like we found our mermaid. Who are these men in the picture?
My husband, Mark, and Marlon Hopgood. They work together on occasion. That's Hopgood's shop.
Okay, so we need to figure out where that's at. I think we can also have figured it out from here. Yeah, we could have also figured it out from this.
Presented to Mark.
Now, as I said earlier in the this mission or case for a different reason, guys. Let's be all adults here and not talk about that movie's title or make any jokes about it. Nah, you can make jokes about it if you want. That's fine.
Great Wall of Babylon. A replica of a replica.
Yeah, some Inception level shit going on here.
Looks like the old movie set downtown.
And apparently, from what I understand, that was like an actual movie set. That for an actual movie. I'm not entirely sure. I will look it up and let you guys know. But apparently, Intolerance was an actual thing.
do you have to do to earn $20,000?
Ah, made out to Mr. Hopgood's wife. That's an interesting little tidbit. Wonder what he's paying her for. I can't imagine what it would be. I'm sure it's like secretary work or something, right? Oh, I'm getting right to it.
Those men, I think they work for Guy McAfee. Do you know the name?
No. Why should I?
June Ballard is married to Guy McAfee. Have you heard of her?
That slut. She's been badgering my husband for days.
Mrs. McAfee alleges that your husband tried to kill her and her friend last night. I think you should tell us what you know.
My husband's a movie producer. This has something to do with his new picture. He doesn't include me in his business.
Oh, don't give me that look, lady. I know that you're bullshitting me.
June Ballard said she had a deal to be in his new picture.
Mark repeatedly told her no. He had Joan Leslie lined up for the role. That's how he got the finance. June made all kinds of threats. She was very rude to me.
You know June Ballard?
We were both on the same picture a few years back. That's how I met my husband.
Where can we find your husband, ma'am?
He told me he would be on set. That's all I know.
And yeah, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that tells her much of anything, so... Well, that was...
Either we find him, or McAfee's people do, Mrs. Bishop. If you care for him, you should make sure that we find him first.
I do care for him. But I don't really know where he'd go if he were in trouble. Hopgood might know.
Why is your husband paying Lorna Hopgood $20,000?
Lorna? Marlon's ex-wife? Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure.
You're lying, Mrs. Bishop. It's some kind of payoff. You know exactly what the money is for and who it's getting paid to.
Do I? Would you like to prove that, Detective?
We can't necessarily prove all of that, but we can prove that there is a payment being made.
Your husband looks like he's being blackmailed. They obviously have something on him if he's prepared to kill to cover it up. Why is the payment going to Hopgood and not McAfee?
Lorna works at a check-cashing place in Hollywood. You need to ask Hopgood why he needs that much money in cash.
So it's his ex-wife, but he still has her, like, laundering money for him. That's interesting.
Your husband was at a casting yesterday with a young girl?
Not that I know of. He told me he was looking at locations. The picture's been cast.
I'm sure it has been, but he wasn't really casting her, and you're trying to bullshit me yet again, lady.
Jessica remembered a mermaid. The mermaid on the front of the prop store. You better come clean with me.
This is a sick town, Detective. Are you sure you really want to know? The truth is, my husband likes them young.
And you think that's okay?
I was 16 when I first met him. I thought he was a genius, a magician with film. I was 20 before I realized he was just a B-movie hack. But he's nothing compared to some of the monsters at these big studios. My guess is Ballard sacrificed her little friend. Happens to a lot of girls.
Your husband is in trouble. It could go easier for him if you were more helpful, Mrs. Bishop.
He's a big boy, Detective, and so are you. This is Hollywood. There's always a deal to be done.
Yep, so she's not terribly helpful.
Operator, message for KGPL.
Putting you through now.
Cole Phelps, badge 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
I need a location on a silver screen prop store.
Just a moment. Silver Screen Props, corner 3rd and Figueroa.
Thanks.
In any case, we also have a fair amount of movie memorabilia around here. I'm sure that's a picture from the Gay Cowboys movie. Fournier's Revenge, eh? The stairwell. Yeah, there's the movie poster. Yeah, okay. I'm having a hard time not making jokes myself, so we'll proceed onwards. No immature jokes for me.
An aging movie star, a wannabe starlet, a movie producer's wife. We're finally rubbing shoulders with the almost rich and famous.
And from the stories they've given us, clearly none of them can act.
Oh, Cole Phelps once again with the sick burns. He really knows how to insult someone. In any case, let's head on to that prop set. Is it said if it's a prop store? Prop store. That's where we'll go.
Mrs. Bishop knows more than she's letting on.
She doesn't seem to realize how much trouble her husband is in. The LAPD are the least of their worries right now.
You'd think she'd have gotten the hint after those hatchet men redecorated her apartment.
Maybe she's just loyal.
Or she's in on it. She didn't seem like your average giddy broad with nothing between the ears.
Or she might just be trying to buy enough time for Bishop to put a couple of oceans between him and McCaffrey.